And it's really important to do that, not just the sales process in particular, but we're talking today about your conversion ratio. How do we improve your conversion ratio? And what we mean by that is if you're pricing up 10 jobs and you're converting 3 of them, 3 of them become confirmed sales orders, you've got a 30% conversion ratio. And we always want to look at improving that figure, because it will mean if you can improve that figure, it means you can spend less on your marketing, and it saves you time too. Think of all the jobs that you're going out and pricing. If we can cut that figure down and you don't need as many, it's really going to relieve some burden, not only on your finances, but also on your time. So how do we do that? How do we improve this conversion ratio? Well, the key word to doing this is the word nurture. Nurture. We've got to be able to nurture the relationship and nurture clients so that we can warm them up a little bit. And I don't know about you, but have you ever gone into quotes completely cold, where sometimes you turn up at the door and maybe you've arranged it with the husband and the wife answers and she doesn't even know who you are and why you're there, and you're thinking, oh, this is rubbish. You just feel that you're just an inconvenience to the homeowner, and you're thinking, what's the point? I'm wasting my time here. Am I even going to win this project? It's horrible when you go into a quote where it feels quite cold and frosty, the relationship. Clearly what we want is we want to be going into quotes warm. We want to be walking through that door with the client already believing that we're their ideal company for them. So we're going in now, they're a hot or warm prospect rather than completely cold. And the way to do that, the way to warm people up, is we need to nurture them over time. And that makes sense, doesn't it? Because before anyone commits in a relationship, it takes time to establish the trust, doesn't it? I mean, just like you might have heard this illustration before, if you walked into a bar and you wanted to get yourself a wife, and you walk over, you see a beautiful woman sitting at the bar, and you go and sit next to her, and you get down on one knee and you propose, what's she going to say? Get out of my way, you weirdo. She's not going to be interested at all, is she? Because you've gone for commitment too fast, and she's not ready to establish the relationship there and then. Whereas if you saw that same woman at the bar and you walked over, established eye contact, bought her a drink, had a chat, exchanged numbers, maybe arranged a few dates, and then over time that relationship improved, then clearly when you go down and try and propose the next time, months later, then yeah, of course, at that point, she's more likely to be ready to commit because you've nurtured that relationship. And it's exactly the same in business. People sometimes, if you think about it, sometimes people are giving their whole life savings over to get a big project done. If they're doing maybe a house refurbishment, extension loft, whatever it is, sometimes people are spending thousands on a project and they're just not ready to commit to just the first builder that shows up. They've got to really know, like, and trust you first before they're ready to commit. And it takes nurture in order to do that. Now, one of the things you might be thinking is, well, how am I going to get time to do that? I haven't got time to nurture a relationship. And it does take time, and I just really want this live to be about how do we speed that time up, and is there anything we can do to improve it? So just having a quick look at this infographic, you notice there the number 7. There was a really unbelievable marketer called Jay Abrahams, and he is a top marketer for companies like FedEx, Microsoft, lots of Taco Bell, lots of big companies. And they come up with a study that it takes 7 interactions with a client before they're ready to commit. 7 interactions. So you might think, well, how on earth am I going to do 7 interactions? And just taking that a little bit further, what we clearly want the client to do is go through this journey. We want this client to go through this journey here where, first of all, they become aware of us. Now, that might be through seeing your vans or your sign writing or your social media, your website. They become aware of who you are as a company. Then we want them to understand a little bit about us and what we're offering, and do we match what they're looking for? And then if we do match, we want them to come and believe that we are the best company for them. So maybe that's because they've spoke to previous clients or they've read reviews or whatever it is. We want them to believe that we're the ones that they want as a company, and then only then are they ready to take action because that trust has been established. That's what we're looking for. Now, Jay Abraham says it takes 7 interactions to do that. So how do you get 7 interactions? Because if you think about it, you're probably maybe speaking to a client on the phone for the first time, and then you're arranging a visit. 2, you might go around and visit. 3, you might then send a quote. And if we're lucky, 4, you might follow it up. So many people don't follow up, which if you've listened to me before is a massive bugbear of mine. You must follow up. But you've only got 4 interactions there, haven't you? And is someone really going to part away with their life savings on just speaking to someone 4 times? Probably not, unless you're the cheapest quote, which we don't want. So how do we improve these interactions? Well, one thing we want to do is use a CRM system. And there's loads of CRM systems out there. CRM is a customer relationship management system. And there are so many out there that are so cheap to get. You can subscribe to any of these for, I don't know, $30 a month, something like that. Not expensive. So ones like ActiveCampaign, Infusionsoft, Salesforce, they're all really good systems. Maybe you've used some of these before. But the beauty about a customer relationship management system is that they are designed to be able to send auto emails on your behalf. And auto emails are the things that you could use to nurture a relationship. So just to give you an example of this, there was a company recently that done this so well for me. I say recently, it was about 6 months ago. We wanted to buy some chickens. So I went on a website. I think I'd done a Google search on the best chicken coops to buy or whatever it was. And it bounced me to a website, Chicken Coops Direct or something like that. Clicked on the website and they had a download of how to look after chickens, or the guide to chicken coops. Anyway, I've downloaded this chicken coop, but of course, once I've downloaded it, I've had to give my email address. Now, what was really interesting is over the next few days, I started getting some emails about chickens. So first of all, I get a guide on the best chicken coop to buy and what you should look out for. Then it was a guide to how to, when you're searching for your hens, what different hens are there that are out there. Then it was, how do you feed your chickens? Then it was, how do you clean your chicken coop out? And I got all these different emails, really interesting emails that were quite valuable to me over the course of a few weeks. So eventually, when I was ready to actually buy that chicken coop, I was going to look nowhere else. This company had already established a brilliant relationship with me, and it was this company that I was going for. So I went in and I paid the deposit on a chicken coop. And then once I bought the chicken coop, I then got emails coming through saying, right, Greg, your order is being processed. It's just in the factory now. And then a week later, it's Greg, the factory's building it. We've got your design, blah, 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 all this stuff. And then, an update on the delivery date. And then I was able to not just pay the deposit, but pay in full for the chicken coop to arrive. It was really, really good marketing. And all they were doing simply was nurturing me as a client to make that purchase and make me feel good throughout that purchase. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant marketing. And the best thing about it all was that it was all automated. The whole thing, it was all automated. It probably took them a couple of hours to get it into a system, and then the hundreds of chicken coops they're buying, the whole process is automated, which is what we want for you. So how do we automate a nurture campaign? Well, if you look in your workbook, there's going to be a little bit difficult to see, but here's a typical nurture sequence I think this one was in like Infusionsoft, and there's different access points of when people come to you. So maybe you're receiving an email address somehow, maybe someone submitted a web form on your website, or maybe you've had a phone call from a client or an architect that's come in. What we clearly want to do then is get them into our CRM system, and this is where the process starts. We can set them up in a KLT sequence, which is a know, like, and trust sequence. So this would be a series of emails that go out that are just introducing us as a company, who we are, what our values are, what we do as a business. That could all happen before we've even visited the client. Then maybe the client's ready to us to actually go around and give a quote. So maybe we've got a quoting sequence where we've visited the client and then we say to them, you're going to get your quote in a week's time. And then all of a sudden you've got a series of emails that go out just letting them know that, hey, just to let you know, your quote's being prepared. We're just looking at this. We're value engineering it, blah, blah, blah. And we could do a quote sequence, which would be could be a couple of emails going out. Then once the quote's been sent, we could have a quote received email that goes out. So once they've got the quote, we could then send them an email out just saying, do you have any questions for your quote? We've sent it yesterday. If you've got any questions or you want to talk about how we can reduce some elements of it to save you some money, let us know. And then we could have a few emails that go out after the quote sequence. It could be testimonials that go out or case studies, different things like that. The purpose of it all is that we're trying to build on every email that goes out is another interaction. It's a chance for people to get to know us, to get to like us, and to get them to trust us. And it's only when we've got that trust that they'll be willing to part with their savings and invest in you as a company. So I know that doing this really works. We've done this in all our businesses. Those in Mastermind are doing this too. We're getting these sequences in place because it really works. It's a great way of nurturing your leads. And ultimately, what we're trying to do is improve your sales conversion rate. So give that a go. If you haven't got a CRM system yet, get one in place and start mapping out a nurture sequence. If you want to do this in detail and you want to know the exact strategy of the key way of getting a nurture sequence right, then we do this in my mastermind. So if you'd like to find out more about that and how we massively improve conversion rates for you, then reach out and we'll have a chat about how Mastermind can transform your sales process. Hope that